Joe's friends call him Bucky, and I learned to call him Bucky many, many years ago. This was a long time ago. It was 64, no, 5, I think.
68, I think.
Oh, was it 68?
Yeah.
I'd heard about Altman's, and I was interested in getting, I talked earlier about builders and brokers. Well, they were builders, definitely builders. They did all their own concrete work and among other things. And I'd heard about their management team, and Joe's dad, he was still there, and then they had a kind of guy running the place by the name of Bob Holmes. I was a little shy when I was young, and Bob was just not the guy that I wanted to talk to, but I'd heard about this young guy that had just started, Bud Altman's son, Joe. So I called him up one day, and I said, "You want to have lunch?" And I was 28 or 9 at the time, and Bucky was 27 or 28.
I'll never turn down a free lunch.
Well, I didn't know that. So we ended up over at Stevens Steakhouse off the I-5 in City of Commerce, which is a pretty good restaurant. I think it's still there. So we got there about noon, and we got out of there about 2:30, quarter to 3. In those days, lunchtime usually consisted of a drink or two. That was kind of the custom of way of doing things. So Bucky and I upheld the customs and
At least.
and 2 weeks went by, and I decided it's time to call you. I didn't want to be too pressing. So their office was in Monterey Park. So I don't know if you remember this. Oh no, you don't remember this because you weren't there. Anyway, I go in the door, and the receptionist there, and I'd say, "My name's Arch Kirkwood, Kirkwood Electric. I'd like to see Joe Altman." And she said, "Well, he doesn't work here anymore." I said, "Huh?" And no, he was called up by the U.S. Air Force, and he's in the Air Force right now.
Navy,
I'm sorry. So Joe was in the service, and he had a wife at the time, and a small baby girl, as I did. Anyway, I don't remember what we did after that. Oh, and your receptionist said, "Well, Joe's not here, but if you want to go see Audrey in the plaid room, she can direct you to, if there's work you would like to bid." So I did. I met Audrey, and I don't know, 4 or 5 months went by, and finally got a job. Brunswick Drug was the name of the building.
remember that.
And I left the switchgear out of my bid, and that's why I was low. But we did okay. We made a little money on it. I consider Joe my best friend. I mentioned a number of people that I called when I started this company, and Joe was right at the top of the list. Paul Matt, Mike Croats, Skip Wool, Steve Dunn. Who else?
Vance.
Oh, and Vance, of course, Vance Mape. And Bucky and I are, well, I think Steve's still around. Bucky and I are the only ones around. All the others are gone, except for Steve. We had a lot of fun.
Well, I remember you guys were, at one point, you were doing 80% of our work, I think. It was, you were definitely our go-to contractor, for sure.
Yeah. Up until I think, till I retired, and probably sometime after that as well. Yeah, thank you for the
Thank
business.
you. Well, we had a lot of laughs along the way too, which is the best part. Really, you're right down to it. Remember, I thought it was extravagant. Arch invited my wife and I to go skiing with a group of people to Aspen for a week. Well, we lit it up. We had a great week, and it was fabulous. It was a fabulous time in the beginning of I don't know how many, 20 years maybe, that we went to Aspen at least once a year.
I remember that on the trip back, Aspen to Denver and then fly home. Those airplanes, what were those called?
Might have been an Otter or something.
Otter,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, they were
Twin engine,
unpressurized.
over wing, under pressurized, turboprops. And I don't know if you've ever flown out of Aspen, but it's a little tight.
One way in and one way out.
Yeah, one way in and one way out. It's kind of a horseshoe thing, and then there's 12, 13,000 foot mountains all around it. But anyway, we hit some inclement weather or turbulence. Our wives all announced to us, and they said, we're not coming up here again. So I think Bucky or you or I or somebody said, well, okay, we'll miss you the next trip. And
Because we got a hall pass.
we got a hall pass for another 15 years or so, 20 years. But we did a lot of skiing. We had a great time.
Yeah, those are fun years. How about the years we went down to Cabo San Lucas? Remember when you had the airplane?
Oh, yeah.
You fly down, take a jet to La Paz, and then a DC-3 from La Paz down to Hotel Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah, and the DC-3s were, of course, World War II vintage, and we'd all get on the plane leaving. All those local guys, families would get on.
Well, you brought some animals on board too.
Oh, they brought animals on and everything. So the pilot would come back and shoo them off the plane.
Well, then the co-pilot was some 15-year-old kid with on a T-shirt. Remember that part?
So they'd start the engines. And I remember we were at this hotel. What was the name of that hotel?
Hotel Cabo San Lucas.
Hotel Cabo San Lucas. There was tennis courts there. And,
The dirt runway.
Yeah, dirt runway.
Downhill.
Downhill. Thank God it was downhill. We missed the tennis court light by about that far.
Looked like we were headed for the dining room.
But we got home. And we did that a lot. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun down there.
Well, you know, it started, you were leading the way. Remember, you had a Campbell at Lake Havasu and a condo. You were my hero. So I got a Campbell and a condo at Lake Havasu. We had a lot of fun down there. And I think we just kind of graduated from Havasu and started going to Lake Mead.
Yeah. But let's talk about Havasu a little bit.
Something that you all probably don't know about, you wouldn't know about Arch, is he can ride a bicycle backward. And every time he'd get a little snootful, he'd get on that bike and pedal it backwards, which always ended up crashing into something.
Yeah. We used to get up before the sun came up.
Yeah.
Take our boats out. It would be like glass. The water would be so calm.
In the afternoon, we'd head up the river where the sandbar was up there. They'd be up there barbecuing something, and I mean, those were fun afternoons. But
I had a little barbecue about this big around, and it attached to my bow rail, so we could cook hamburgers and whatever on the water. And remember that? You remember the time that, was it you and I or Mike and I went out shopping for hamburger meat, and we left the hamburger meat on the market?
that was like Mead.
Was that Lake Mead?
That was
Oh,
Lake
you're
Mead.
right. You're right.
Remember we'd go up to Echo Bay, have our boats taken up there, our Campbells taken up there.
We used to go all the way to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
you
that was when we were going to take a trip up the river from Lake Mead. The Colorado River flows into Lake Mead, and when the lake was really high, you can go like 30 miles up the river, which is really beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Go up the canyon, and but anyhow, we stopped in Boulder City to get provisions so we could have so we could barbecue hamburgers up the river. So we get up the river. You know, we're all set up and everything. We have the barbecue going and have the buns and the lettuce and the tomatoes and where's the meat? Where's the meat? We left the meat at the store. So
I always blame that on Croatsy, Mike
Yeah.
Croats. He was one of my clients, best best friend.
Yeah, a dear friend. Yep.
Remember that time we were at Vail? Cliff Kerning was there. You were not. I know
I was
you,
there, but I don't remember a whole lot about the trip.
Cliff Kernigan was with us, and we were almost at the top of the mountain, not quite. And then there was 2 or 3 runs this way, and 2 of the runs had been roped off. Remember this?
Yeah, I remember it, but I was not one of the guys that went across the rope.
You were.
You go ahead and tell the story.
They put a rope. Ski Patrol put a rope across the entrance into this one run, and so Kernigan, he doesn't hesitate. You remember that? He goes under the rope and heads down. I thought all 4 of us did. You didn't?
No, that's skiing out of bounds. It's not really a good idea, but anyhow.
Well, anyway, so I followed Kernigan down, and we get about 2/3 almost to the bottom. Sheriffs, Ski Patrol, they catch up with us, and they are not happy.
I'm going to deny the whole thing.
They took us, Cliff and I thought you were there. Anyway, they took us into the offices and just absolutely read us the riot act. If you ever do that again, you're going to jail, and you might go to jail yet today. And anyway, they were mad. And but you were there, but you didn't go down with us.
I don't think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, we were all just dumb enough to follow Cliff. I don't recall, but I remember the story for sure. I got the story about Archie. Archie, somehow in a different life, I think, had to be the world's fastest human, because whenever we went out to dinner, this was years ago, and Archie would have a couple of martinis and maybe a little wine. He'd challenge anybody that was there to a foot race. So we'd all go outside the restaurant, and everybody'd line up, and then I don't think you won a race yet.
Well, I can. Can I respond to that? Well, anyway, we were all up at this restaurant. I can't even remember the name of it. I can't remember where it was at. I think it was in Beverly Hills or up in that.
Or something.
And it was on a slope like this, the restaurant was. And it was kind of a famous restaurant. The food was really good. And so I admit, I'm not the fastest guy in the world, but I think I am. Anyway, I challenged Bucky to a foot race. Guess what? We're going down, I'm ahead. Then he pushes me into a fire hydrant.
That's a fabrication.
No, it's not. You know you remember that.
I could never do that, something like that. You know that.
Bucky played football. He was San Marino, and he is fast, I admit, but I think if I can just play it right, I can beat him, but I never have. But yeah, those were fun days. We had wonderful friendships, and I remember this one fellow's name was Emil Wool. His nickname was Skip, and he was the strongest guy I ever known. He played linebacker,
Tight end.
or tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Was that when
He played it. Yeah, he was the same year as the McKeevers.
Yeah. Anyway, he was a football player and a big guy, strongest person I've ever known. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
You know, he proved it with me when we were at Lake Mead, and he was the sweetest person. But we found out that he did have a line, and you know, you could do this to Skip or anyway. So one time I did that one too many times, and he picked me up over his head, and I'm not exaggerating, just like this. He held me there for at least 30 seconds, at least. Then he slammed me down on the end of a couch where the arm was coming out and broke 3 of my ribs.
There's a lesson in there somewhere.
Yeah, I quieted down. But Skip was a wonderful guy, and he was a industrial builder. Bucky did all of his work, and I was able to do a lot of the electrical. But I love that guy.
Yeah, he was the best.
He's gone. as is Mike Croats.
You know, something that I need to, I had just remembered. It was San Marino, and we were in a really high interest rate period, and I had just gone into escrow on a house. It's $850,000. It was the world. And I hadn't sold my other house, which was a problem. So I needed 150 grand, and you just gave it to me. It didn't. There were no terms, no nothing. Just, pay me back when you can. So I was really thankful for that. It saved my bacon, boy. Fortunately, the other house finally sold, and I was able to pay you back.
And you did.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned earlier that I had this company called Hoffman Electric. Their work was just killing me, and I was running out of money, and to finish that up. And anyway, this is one of the longest days of my life. Anyway, we were doing a job at the Yellow Pages publishing facility there.
It was a landmark building. I remember you could see it from the freeway.
Yeah, but it was kind of underneath the freeway or off to the side. They were open 24 hours a day, 365 days. We were redoing some of the major electrical service. I had a crew there, and they were working, but they couldn't shut any of the power off because it was a 24-hour operation. So about 8:30 in the morning, I get a call from one of my people, and it says, we've had a horrible accident. This young foreman and another electrician, they were cutting a hole in the top of this large switchboard. It was 480 volt. And this cutter broke and fell down into the bus bars, and it exploded. And so my two electricians were there. The younger of the two, it was terribly burned. Clothes, everything. And then the other fellow was burned as well. I got in my car and I got over there as fast as I could. I'll never forget, the switchboard room was over there. There was a pair of boots and a t-shirt, charred. They were charred. And I thought, oh my God. And this young man lived for 14 days. He died Christmas Eve. So, but to back up a little, when I got the call, because we were having horrible cash flow problems with this Hoffman Electric deal, and my accountant came in and he said, I haven't had enough money to pay the insurance, workman's comp. You know what workman's comp is?
Oh, yeah. You need to pay that.
And that would have covered this horrible accident. But so I called our insurance agent. His name was Bill Bolton. And I said, I understand we're in arrears. He says, well, if you get the money in before midnight tonight, you'll be okay. Well, I can't remember, but I didn't have that much money in it. I called Joe, and I said, I need to borrow $75,000 or $80,000 right now. And would you mind delivering it to Bill Bolton? And he did. He did. So, did I ever thank you?
I'm sure you did. Archie, to your credit though, all those people you've done business with and on a handshake basis, there's a reason they've been, including myself, loyal to you, because you've been exemplary. Your work has been terrific. You've been always on time and in budget and that kind of stuff. But you earned the loyalty. You've earned it, every bit of it.
Thank you.
It's been and is fun, still.
Well, we need a few more years.
We're counting on it.
We get together almost every Wednesday. Annette, Joe's wife, and mine, and a couple of other couples, and we have dinner, drink some wine, and
All the octogenarians.
we're all octogenarians. Yeah,
Well, Archie's been good.
I agree.
We've had more than our share of fun together, no question about it. It's been wonderful. I mean, the memories are pretty spectacular, but still good having you around. You know, that's a real blessing.
Yeah, I want you to stick around for a while. I need you.
Yeah. Well, we've been blessed with some really good friends. It's too bad they're not still here, but.
I love you, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
all you've done for me.
Well, I love you. Well, thanks for the friend you've been. I mean, it's been, it is. It is a real pleasure. Just wonderful that we still get to spend some time together. It's very special.